Hi, I'm Keith Pendleton. As a healthcare attorney, I'm here to assure you that collecting in accident cases, such as your automobile accidents, is really not that difficult. I've been doing this for 12 years helping chiropractors get paid, and one of the comments I hear from people all the time is, wow, if I knew it were this easy, I would have done this a long time ago. Also, I get this a lot, boy, I wish I had known this 10 years ago. I could have easily saved $250,000 or more. And what I want you to know is there's very simple things you can do to vastly improve your collections here, and through this gain confidence that you can build your practice in this arena. And in a moment I'm going to share with you a number of testimonials, but all it really requires is a little bit of law, understanding how things really work, access to a few key tools and some training, maybe some support, and what will happen is as you score your first couple successes, you'll build confidence that you can improve your collections in this arena and grow your practice as a result. Now I'm going to move through these slides fairly quickly, but for example, did you know that you do not necessarily need to get a letter of protection from an attorney in order to protect your bills? Some practices spend gobs and gobs of time trying to get that letter of protection from the attorney, and they don't even know that as a general rule you don't need to get a letter of protection from the attorney. There is an alternative. And by the same token, a lot of practices have a document the patient signs called a doctor's lien or an assignment. What I want you to know is you don't even necessarily need to get the attorney to agree to your assignment and lien document or to sign off on it in order to be protected. Again, there's an alternative. So before proceeding, I want you to understand the basic difference between a no-fault state on the one hand versus a fault state on the other. There are 12 no-fault states, and the basic difference is that in a no-fault state, there's a first-party form of coverage called personal injury protection, or PIP, which is mandatory. In all of the fault states out there, those first-party benefits, sometimes it's called PIP, sometimes it's called MedPay, is essentially voluntary. Okay, understanding that, know this, that if a PIP no-fault payer or a health insurance payer either delays, denies, or reduces your bills, such as through an IME, there's a plan B here. Okay, there's a way to protect your ability to balance bill or roll those denials, those delays, those reductions, as a general rule, to the attorney or third-party liability payer in many cases. Okay, there is a way to protect your ability to balance bill or roll those denials over. So if you don't get paid here, you can get paid there. Here's another example. If the PIP payer, and I'm sure if you practice in a no-fault state, you've probably encountered this, where the adjuster all of a sudden says, what? Claims under investigation. They won't share any information with you, and they just simply suspend payment. Well, what I want you to know are there are very simple actions you can take in these cases to go ahead and prompt payment, and that is have the payer lift the suspension and go ahead and keep paying on claims until, for instance, they finally do that independent medical exam or IME. Here's another example. Now this applies across the country. This is nationwide. However, it tends to be more prevalent in fault states. And that's this. Were you aware that there are proven and effective ways to get paid directly by those third-party liability adjusters in unrepresented cases? That is where the patient's not represented by legal counsel. Okay, here's another example. There's a handful of states out there, Virginia, North Carolina, Oklahoma. There's a handful of states that have a medical lien statute. The problem is a lot of times these medical lien statutes have hoops to jump through or limitations built into them. Okay, and I've heard providers in non-medical lien states say, boy, I wish we had a lien statute in our state. You do. Every state has a powerful lien statute. Most providers don't know it. Very few attorneys know it, but this is an alternative lien statute that not only can you be using to protect your bills, providers have actually begun to use it with a great deal of success. Here's another example. So if an attorney refuses to protect your interests, you call up the attorney, you ask for a letter of protection, the attorney declines to do so. Did you know at that point you can be successful turning to the third-party liability adjuster and getting the third-party liability adjuster to protect your interests at the time of settlement. That means put your name on the check that goes to the attorney. So if the attorney declines to protect your interests, it leaves it to you to protect your own, and practices have been very successful doing that. Here's another example that commonly comes up. You've probably experienced this scenario of the lowball offer, and this is where the attorney calls you up, says attorney adjuster is only willing to settle for this. I can't get the adjuster to budge. Well, did you know that there is a very simple way for you to verify what is the final offer that was actually made to the attorney, and possibly even increase the amount of the offer through your assignment in lien? And this is something I'll demonstrate in just a moment. The bottom line is, if you know a little law and follow a defined protection protocol, you can be very successful in your accident injury collections and grow your practice, and I mean in every state. Providers in states with bad case law are achieving success. So in some states there are cases on the books about assignment of proceeds. Even in those states we have providers achieving great success. In those states with a limited medical lien statute, we're achieving great success, where even though there's a limitation built into the statute where providers otherwise would get a reduced amount, we're having providers get paid in full despite those medical lien statutes. So here are some testimonials. In 2 cases alone, I saved $7,500 by using the correct protocol. This is Tom Arnold in Albuquerque, New Mexico. In one case, it actually increased the amount of the settlement offer and resulted in my name going on the check to the attorney. In another case, a check cashed with my name on it was cashed at a bank without my endorsement. I was able to get paid quickly and promptly and in full by the bank that cashed the check. So if you treat accident cases, let me be frank with you, there are answers to the recurring collection problems you are facing that are easy to implement, and you're not going to find them anywhere else. Cheryl Sealhand out of Dallas, Texas writes, I'm currently an administrative assistant for a physical therapy company that practices with 7 different facilities in Texas. With this information, we've grown our collections to a point we never imagined possible. And Kelly Moore writes, I've owned 2 clinics over the past 10 years. With Keith's information, I haven't just experienced 1 or 2 successes here and there. Over the past 12 years, I've experienced over 300 instances where I was dealing with a difficult attorney or adjuster, and where I saved thousands of dollars at a time and greatly increased my confidence, practice size, and income in this area. If you treat even a small number of accident cases, you must take this program. You won't regret it. And in Kelly's case, she saved approximately $500,000 over the course of that time, and greatly increased her practice size and income in that area. Recall, the bottom line here is that if you know a little law and follow a defined protection protocol, you can be very successful in your accident injury collections. You can substantially grow your practice in this arena, and I mean in any state. On a closing note, let me encourage you to check out the Topology website. That's www.topology.net. Also, I wanted to let you know I'm currently offering very intensive half-hour weekly reimbursement webinars as well as other programs. These webinars will be used to build out our National Insurance Manual. So anyhow, thank you for your interest, and don't forget to check out the Topology site.